Welcome to Picks with the Professor, the podcast for a real statistics professor.
And the Abbott to his Costello, Jake.
Well done, well done. Gives you sports betting tips. I am Professor Sides. You can follow me on Twitter at Professor Sides. You can follow my friend Jake on Twitter at myfriend_Jake. Today is Monday, April 11th, 2022, and this episode covers all of today's Major League Baseball games. In case you're new here, I built a mathematical model that predicts the probability that each team wins, and I analyze weather data in order to come up with some picks on the totals. When we talk about humidity in this episode, so a reminder that more humidity means the ball dies, while less humidity means it carries. As I go through the plays, remember, there are no locks in gambling, so what I'll give you are loves, likes, and leans. With that in mind, please understand that good and bad variance will occur. So as much as I'd like to say we'll be profitable each and every day, that is an impossible reality for any gambler. I say that, and maybe we'll be profitable every day. Maybe there's like 180 days in the season. Maybe we'll just go profitable every single day. Another profitable day on Saturday. We take Sundays off around here, and so that's 3 winning days to start off the season, up another 2.5 units. We'll try to keep that rolling. Again, one day we will lose. Hopefully it will be small. Hopefully it won't be anytime soon. What do you think about that, Jake?
I mean, it's been incredible. Like, baseball is your game, and you've really been showing it. Like, it's been hot.
And it's been a lot of fun. Closing last season really hot. I talked with cousin Jared about this, via text. We were talking about how great the end of last season was, and then like feeling a little bit of that pressure of like I got to keep that going to start the next year. And so far, it's felt that way. So far, it's felt just like continuing exactly where we left off, which has been a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll keep that going. Before we get to today's slate, a reminder, please hit that like button if you're on YouTube. Subscribe or follow if you aren't yet. It's the only way to ensure you don't miss any of the college basketball, MLB, or college football content that this channel provides. Share with a friend if you know others in the game. Drop a comment on Twitter or YouTube. We love those and try to respond to as many as we can. Still got some lingering afternoon games here, which are a lot of fun. I hope we keep this going all season. I don't think we will, though. I think we'll end up in the boring part of the summer where there's like no afternoon games on a Monday and then none on a Tuesday and then maybe 1 or 2 on a Wednesday, Thursday. But some afternoon games today, which is always fun. We'll kick us off there with the Guardians at the Royals, a 2:10 Eastern first pitch. Jake, what do you have for us on this one?
Man, I think the Guardians scored all of their runs last time. They're not a great team going right now. They're in that rebuild mode. So I think this Royals team is sneaky good. And the White Sox might kind of want to watch out for them because I think they've got the talent there to do it. So I really like them in this game to win.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I've got an A pick on the Royals, -108. The model thinks they should be -124. And I definitely agree with you. I think the Royals, and we talked about the Tigers. The Royals and the Tigers both kind of sneaky good. We're used to they've each had good teams over the last 20 years, but more years than not, they've been really bad. And so it's interesting that they've actually got both teams might be a little frisky. I enjoyed backing Carlos Hernandez last year towards the end of the season. I still think he isn't getting the respect he deserves. I think -108 for the Royals is a steal. Kind of like so with the Guardians, maybe rebuilding a little bit. This is a perfect time to take advantage of people not realizing the Royals are solid and the Guardians aren't. So Royals -108 is a great play, in my opinion, a pick for me. And at that same time slot, we have 2:15 Eastern first pitch, Pirates at the Cardinals, one of these lingering games that still hasn't finished up the previous series. What do you have for us on this one?
Man, I really like the Cardinals to do this. It's kind of a heavy price to pay, so I'm kind of leaning like the under, but it makes me a little nervous the fact that these teams haven't combined for less than 8 yet this year. So there's 3 games, so it makes me a little nervous. But I think the Pirates can't keep it up, can't keep their offense going, and I don't think the Cardinals are going to be as hot as they are. I think they've got to die at some point.
And I think the other thing to consider here is Zach Thompson for Pittsburgh is actually pretty good. And so that will help. I don't know how long he can go. We've talked about starters not going long early in the season, but if he can get, 5 good innings for Pittsburgh, that'll really help keep the total down as well. I agree with exactly what you said. I mean, it's hard to go against the Cardinals when they're playing the Pirates just out of principle. The model thinks the Cardinals should only be a -150 favorite. So the model does say the Pirates have some value, but it's tough to pull the trigger there. There's some dogs, and I'll take a bigger dog later today that I'm like, I don't mind pulling the trigger on this one, but it's really tough to pull the trigger here on this one. And I'm like you, I'd rather have the under. So I'm going under 8. It's -104 right now, and I'm giving another A play on this. So 2 afternoon A plays. Take note, this game will almost assuredly have some delay. The weather looks pretty nasty there. It'll get more humid as the day goes on. The winds will be slightly in Temperature in the 50s. This is great under weather. Hudson's pretty solid as well. I think this is a great recipe for an under. Good starting pitcher. Good starting pitchers. Some questionable offenses. The weather. Also, are the Cardinals going to keep hitting Pujols like 5-hole all season?
Maybe.
If they do, I feel like we should just take the Cardinals under at a principle of why are you doing this? Like, if you want to let them bat them in the 8-hole or something.
I definitely thought that signing was like, hey, thanks for what you did. I didn't know he was starting lineup good.
Yeah, or if he was starting, I expected it to be like 8-hole. Like, yeah, like we'll see if you can get some of that magic back, and like if he gets hot, move him up. But yeah, that wouldn't really surprise me. So yeah, under 8, -104 A plate for me there. Again, the model thinks Pirates have some value, but it's just not a dog I want any part. Some of the dogs I like, that one's just not one I want to mess with. Yeah. 3:05 p.m. Eastern first pitch. Brewers at the Orioles. The Brewers are a -161 favorite here. Jake, do you have any insight for us on this one?
I mean, it's hard. It's hard not to pick the Brewers, but I don't want to pay that price with the way they're playing. I'm just avoiding this game because I'm not. You're never going to catch me going like, "Hey, the Orioles are the play." Not that call.
I hear you. This one's actually I am taking the dog on this one. I'm bolder on this one than I was the previous game. I hate the words. I'm gonna make a reference to this later, but I mean I am backing the Orioles +148 with the B pick. The model thinks it should only be Brewers -134. I talked last week about the Brewers offense just not being good, and we've continued to see that. It's not all about Urias coming back. He's not going to make all the difference in the world. But, I mean, Yelich has just kind of continued to look worse and worse. McCutchen's batting 4-hole for him. And I'm not saying that McCutchen can't recapture some of his old form, but he hasn't been a consistently good offensive player in a long time. This Brewers offense is just bad. I think it's just two bad teams. And so, hey, I'm getting +148. I'll take it. I'm taking Orioles +148 B pick. I also think Adrian Hauser for the Brewers, just a lot of smoke and mirrors. He has some decent results, but I just don't think it's sustainable. I think the Brewers might be okay in the long run, but right now they're not a team I want to back, especially with two of their top 3 starters struggling with Woodruff and Peralta. Woodruff kind of faded a little bit at the end of last year. It's only one start, but not looking good in his first start this year. Peralta not looking the same after that injury. If that continues, the bullpen's going to get wore down. I think the Brewers are a team you want to fade until the number catches up. So I am plugging my nose and playing the Orioles on this one, but it is not what I love. It's just when there's just too much value, and the Brewers are just – it's the difference in the Brewers and the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are solid right now. Yeah. The Brewers aren't, and so I'm okay fading the Brewers as opposed to the Cardinals. That's my logic.
Banking on that new fence, higher back the fence is going to make a difference here.
I actually had that in my notes. I didn't want to – I felt like we were talking too long about this one, but I did just the wind is blowing out to left right where they backed the fence up to. So I feel like it's going to completely counteract that. So we'll see if that has any effect on the totals on this one as the year goes on. Late afternoon start here, 4 p.m. Eastern. Rockies at the Rangers. What's your play here for us, Jake?
I really like this Rangers team. I think they did a great job in the offseason with their signings. Pitching, I'm not so confident in, but I think that offense is very, very good with Simeon. Like, he was one of my favorite players to watch last year. He was just having an incredible year, and I think that was probably the best signing that nobody really talked about. So I really think they'll take care of the business with the Rockies here.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Very under the radar signing. Everyone talks about Seager. Seager's a great player, obviously, but Simeon helps that offense out a lot too. I'm with you. I'm taking the Rangers -125. Another A play for me. The model thinks it should be -133. I think these two starters are equal. I think the Rangers have the better bats and are at home. I think the number is too low. It's only a small model edge, but everything lines up to tell me there's good value here. I want to get extra money down when I feel confident about it. And so I think the Rangers are the play. They hung in there mostly with the really good Blue Jays team. I don't think the Rockies are anywhere near as good as the Blue Jays are. So I think that'll be a little boost to their confidence here after coming off of playing a really good Blue Jays team. Also in the late afternoon, 5:10 Eastern, Red Sox at the Tigers, a game that might have some rain as well and dropping temperatures. What do you have for us on this one?
I kind of want to take the under. I don't trust either offense, but it's a very slight lean there. But I don't think either team is that great right now. I think the Tigers have maybe found a little something. We'll see if they can keep it going, but I don't trust them. And then the Red Sox look lost almost. Like that extra inning game, ball just bounces through the infield with the Yankees. That it's just, I don't know. They just look a little lost right now, and I don't trust them either. So I don't really want to pick a winner. Leaning a little bit towards the under.
Yeah, I think the issue with the under for me is the two starting pitchers are just awful. But the number is at 9.5. So yeah, for me, it's a stay away on the total. That park is more of an under park. So, I mean, I feel like you can kind of talk me into anything on the total there. The angle I'm going to go at for this one is when we see teams traveling after Sunday night baseball where the other team has been able to rest and they've had to travel overnight, that usually has an effect on teams the next day, especially if it's not a night game. And so the fact that this is an afternoon game, even though it's only a late afternoon game, is almost an auto fade for me. I think it's a bad spot for the Red Sox. So I'm going to take the Tigers plus 104 as a B pick. The model pegs the number pretty spot on. So this isn't about the model. This is just about me noticing that in general, that's been a trend that's done well. I think the Tigers are solid. And so giving me plus odds, I think makes a lot of sense. So Tigers plus 104 as a B play for me on this one, which takes us to our evening game, 6:40 p.m. Eastern. The Athletics at the Rays. The Rays are a whopping minus 205 favorite. Jake, do you have any insight for us on this one?
Yeah, that's too big of a price to pay. I'm pretty confident that the Rays win it, but I'm not paying that kind of money for it.
Yeah, that's a huge price to lay. The model thinks the Rays should only be minus 173, which does translate to a 63.4% win probability. So yes, absolutely, I agree that the Rays are likely to win this game. However, I'm going to take the Athletics plus 188 as a C play just because there's value in that number. Only laying the 1 unit on it, so I'm not risking a ton. Just saying, hey, I think that the A's have value. I think we're going to back the A's a lot this season. We'll see how the number progresses. Patino for Tampa isn't bad, but he's not one of the starting pitchers that I want to lay a price north of minus 200 for. There are select pitchers that I wouldn't mind doing that, or I wouldn't mind looking to the equivalent run line and saying this pitcher's dominant. Patino is not one of them, at least not yet. He's young. He might by the end of the season, I might change my mind. But for now, I'm not laying a price anywhere near that high. Again, I think the Rays are more likely to win, but I think in the long run, bad teams still win 60, 70 games. And I think the A's, at this price, if they would win this enough times to be profitable, doesn't mean they'll win tonight, just one of those, this is a long-term play. I think plus 188, plus 190, that type of number offers some value. So I'll give it a C pick, and we'll take our chances with the dog there. About that same time, 6:45 p.m. Eastern, first pitch, Mets at the Phillies. The Phillies are a minus 155 favorite. Do you have any insight for us here?
Yeah, I'm not sure about either of these teams. Like the open of the year, McGill pulled one out of nowhere and threw a gem, and then they can't really get that same kind of performance out. And I don't know what the Phillies are right now. They seem to be good. I seem to kind of like them, but I just can't make myself trust them yet. So I'm just kind of staying away from this game. I still want to watch and figure out who these teams are.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense with a lot of moving pieces for both teams here. The model thinks the Phillies should be only minus 136, so I'm going to play the Mets as that's value. Only a C pick though. I don't really like it that much, but I'll take the value on the Mets at plus 143 for just 1 unit. The wind is blowing out, but with as good as Suarez was last year, I don't really want to go over, and I don't really want to go hard against the Phillies. Suarez was so good down the stretch that if that is who he continues to be, the Phillies are probably the right side. But there's just not enough data that I'll just take the value at Mets plus 143 right now. But there's a lot of uncertainty with how he will perform this year. He has the potential to be a very good starting pitcher, but it was such little data last year that I'm not giving him the Cy Young yet, that sort of thing. And so I'll take a C pick on the Mets just because I think I like the plus odds, and we'll see if we can get some value out of that one. Blue Jays at the Yankees, split evenly here on the money line, minus 105 apiece for a 7 p.m. Eastern start. What do you have for us here?
This is another one that I'm not ultra confident in either team yet. I think this will be a great game to watch. It's two really good offenses. I'm not sure that the pitching line is equal to the offenses here. So I'm just kind of staying away from this one. I don't like what the odds are on either team or really with the over-under. So I'll just watch this one, enjoy it. Hopefully see Guerrero put one on another planet again and just enjoy my night.
There you go. There you go. The model thinks the Blue Jays will win 50.2% of the time. So the line is split pretty even. The model split pretty even. The wind is blowing across. The temperature's in the 50s. If it wasn't for this Toronto offense that can just go wild, I would say under, but I think you make a great point. These offenses are really good. The starting pitchers are good, but not great. So I'm staying away from the total, even though it is under weather. I just don't really want to go under with these two teams. I agree with a lot of what you said. I think it's a tough one to peg. I'll take a C pick on the Blue Jays minus 105. I'll take Manoah over Taillon. It's really nothing more than that. Just I think Manoah's got more upside, and I think he's got a potential to be a really good pitcher this year. And so I'll take the Blue Jays, but only a C pick, only a lean, nothing that I really want to be too heavily invested in. 7:20 Eastern, first pitch, Nationals at the Braves. This one does not have a line at the moment. The Nationals pitcher is not officially confirmed, or the books only got that information recently. So as of the time of this recording, there's no line out yet. What I will say is that the model makes this Braves minus 200. Quite a steep number. This is one where, depending on what the number comes out at, I will post on Twitter an official play on this later in the day when one comes out. If the number is too high, then that'll be stay away on the Braves territory. But if the number is low enough, the Braves are the way to look in this one, maybe even a run line. But it just depends on what the number is. If the number comes out Braves minus 240 or something, then that's a pass for me because that number is too steep. So we'll kind of just evaluate what the number is on that one, and I'll post about it on Twitter. Jake, what do you have for us on this one?
Yeah, I love the Braves. Big Braves fan, but I'm staying away from this game. It is feast or famine. Like at the beginning of last year, before he decided to punch a bench and break his hand, he was looking Cy Young level, and he didn't pick that back up when he came back. So I want to see what he does. I don't think this Nationals team is anything to worry about. The Braves offense isn't going yet. Like I think they've scored like 3 runs in every game, and I don't totally trust them yet. So I'm staying away. I want to see the Braves do something before I start backing them.
All right, yep, that makes sense. 7:40 p.m. Eastern, Mariners at the Twins. The model thinks the Twins should be a minus 118 favorite, which falls squarely in between what the actual odds are. Jake, what do you have for us on this game?
Yeah, I like this Mariners team. I think they are not getting a lot of respect. I think Flexen is a pretty good starter, and I think they've got just an all-around solid team. And I think they won close to 90 games last year, and they're just not getting the kind of respect.
Quietly.
Yeah, I'm not sure where all this love for the Twins came from to give it this big of like a difference between the two teams. But so I really like the Mariners here.
I'm going under 9, even money as an A play. I think what you said makes a lot of sense about Flexen. I think he's pretty solid. I think both pitchers are okay. But this is all about the weather for me. Just because there's no real wind, the temperature will be in the 50s, and the humidity is already going to be high to start off the night, and it's going to get higher as the night goes on. I think if there aren't runs early, this is going to cruise to an under, and at even money makes it even more valuable. So I'm going to go under 9, even money with an A play. I think Flexen keeps this a low-scoring game. I'm not really sure who wins. I think what you said makes a lot of sense. I think Mariners at plus odds is pretty solid. But I just like the under so much that's where I'm going to be recommending you invest your money here. Under 9, A play for me. And then we have 2 late games. Marlins at the Angels, 9:40-ish Eastern first pitch. What do you have for us here?
I got 2 that I like on this. I lean more to picking the Marlins to win. Once again, I think the Marlins are an underrated team, and I'm not sure where this love for the Angels comes from. Being favored over the Astros in almost every game really confused me.
Yeah.
But Also, I like the under here. I don't think either team's offense is great, and I think that 9's a good spot. And you've got two pretty decent starters going at it. But I'm putting my money on the Marlins to win. I just think there's more value there.
All right, the model thinks the Angels should be minus 130, so the model doesn't have an edge. I think in general, though, you're probably not wrong. I think the Angels are really overvalued. The lines against the Astros didn't make a lot of sense. If you back the Astros all 4 games, you walked away with a pretty solid increase in your bankroll. I'm sticking to that under, though. B pick for me, under. It's actually under 9.5, minus 115 as of the time of this recording. The wind is blowing out to center field, but the temperatures are going to be dropping. It's going to be a chilly night in Anaheim. We don't see a ton of those, and the humidity rising. As you mentioned, both the starters are okay. They're not bad. Both offenses can be kind of mediocre. I think the wind is what's pushing this number up. People are seeing, the wind, but in reality, the humidity being near 80% by the middle innings with temperatures in the 60s. I think people just don't realize that the ball will not carry in this game. And so the fact that the wind's blowing out doesn't really bother me. I think the ball won't go anywhere. I think the offenses aren't great, especially Anaheim's offense with really only one hitter I fully trust and maybe a second, between Ohtani and Trout. But I mean, that's really it in their lineup. I really like under 9.5. B pick for me at minus 115. And then that will take us to our last game of the night, 9:45 Eastern, first pitch. Padres at the Giants. What do you have for us here?
This is another one that I'm not so confident in either team, so I'm going to sit back and watch and not make a play on this one. I mean, if you gun to my head, I'm taking the Giants, but other than that, I'm not. You can't force me to make a play here.
Yep, I'm kind of with you there. I'm taking the Giants as a C pick, minus 141. I don't like the odds here. It's why it's only a lean. I think the Giants are the side you want to be on just because I think Alex Wood might be one of the better pitchers in baseball. He just doesn't get a lot of love because of all the injuries. He seems to be healthy now. He probably won't go deep, but I think he's going to give us a good 5 innings here tonight. Nick Martinez is not really a pitcher that I want to be backing for the Padres. The total on this game is really fascinating to me. The wind is blowing out 25-ish miles per hour, but in this park, I don't know what that means. I've seen the wind chart to this park where sometimes the wind will be blowing out to one direction, like to left, but in to right or vice versa. And so this park is just bonkers with the wind. So I don't really know if it's one of those where depending on the exact moment the balls hit, that wind could really help you or hurt you. I have no idea. It's really weird. The temperature at 50 degrees says under. It'll be kind of humid like it usually is. That says kind of under, but then we have the new humidor thing. I don't know what to make of the total. I will say if it was a better Padres pitcher, I'd go under, but Nick Martinez is not that guy. So instead, I'll just look to back Alex Wood. Again, I don't love the odds at minus 141. The model thinks minus 135. So if this drops into about minus 130, then I'd make that a B pick on the Giants. But at the number of minus 141, only a C pick. I think it's the right way that you want to be, but I don't want to over-invest in this game because those odds are not exciting for me. Any last party words here, Jake?
No, I mean, I'm just happy baseball is here. I'm loving the chance to repeat, but, it's been a while since I've been able to even celebrate a championship, so I'm hoping this goes better than my Duke and Tennessee run in the tournament.
There you go. Yeah, and as an Astros fan, I'm just wondering which random NL East team we can lose to in the World Series this year, because that apparently seems to be the thing. All right, everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Picks with the Professor. Reminder, check out the Google Sheet for model projections and results. You can find that link at the website, www.pickswiththeprofessor.com. If you haven't done so yet, click that subscribe button to ensure all the sports betting content we provide on this channel is dropped right into your feed. I will see you tomorrow, and until then, remember, you can eat your betting money, but please don't bet your eating money.